Hello, Sarah Howson. I am so excited.
Hello.
This was definitely like a big planning event since you're all the way in Australia.
Yes, it's the morning here, so first cab off the rank.
It's just so crazy because it's 8:30 p.m. Eastern time in the United States on a Wednesday. So to think that it's Thursday for you at 10:30 a.m. for some reason just like boggles my mind. I don't know.
Time travel is real. It's happening right now.
I totally appreciate. I hit you up on Instagram, and I've been following you for a while, so I totally appreciate that you wanted to come and chat music. Like I know it's like you're deep into it, and I'm excited to hear about it and for you to share your story with everybody. So, like, I think the first thing to start out, because I want to dive into like the guitars and the pedals and like all this. So, if you can just tell us like a little bit about like what you're doing right now in music, and I know you're doing stuff in audio too, so it extends, like it's music, it's audio, it's a lot of sound stuff, but just like who are you and what are you doing?
Oh, who am I and what am I doing? I just do everything. So I'm a filmmaker, I'm a music producer, audio engineer, sound designer, like everything that's in those two creative fields, I kind of have my hands all over those sort of things, but my preference is definitely leans towards the sound design and composing music for film, that kind of thing.
And is that, I know that you've worked, I found you on, I looked you up on LinkedIn. I was stalking you a little bit.
Love it.
So it seems like, so you work on film. So are you composing? Are you doing the audio stuff, or like you're doing both?
Yeah, usually both. So sometimes, because I only work on small sets and it's usually my own stuff.
Okay.
So I just run sound on set and then I take it into post-production and then I edit all that and I mix it all and then I make music. And realistically, I started making films because I couldn't find anyone just to give me their film and say, hey, do you want to compose? So I was like, well, I'll just make my own films then, and then I can do both.
Okay, cool. And you just had a new project out recently, or it's coming out, or I know I saw you posting something. You have a YouTube channel and posting something about that.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk nerdy stuff about guitar pedals and because everyone that does pedal reviews, like I don't know if you ever watch them, but they're all like, oh, metal, do like really fast playing. And for me, I don't play like that, so I can't get a vibe for the pedal. So I thought maybe if we have people that are interacting with pedals in a normal, more basic or more maybe melodic way, that people could see another side to what they can do and how they interact with your guitar, how they interact with other pedals, how they interact with your amp and how you record them, that kind of thing. But slowed down, not like metal guitar.
And I think your timing is like spot on, because from what I've seen is, and I may just like be under a rock, but for somebody under a rock, I have just seen like a lot of pedal stuff, like just, everyone's like back into analog and just people using pedals not only for guitar, but for sound design and for other DJs using it as effects, which they've been doing for some time. But when I was looking into, I wanted to capture some sound and I started researching it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many pedals out here, and the art, the graphics and what they look like. It's really, you could get addicted. I could totally see how that's
insane. There's so many. And yeah, it's like gear acquisition syndrome so hard right now. I'm like, what can I buy? I have no money, but I'm going to buy it anyway. And I've just got a bit nuts.
We all feel that pain for sure. So, but you also like design your own pedals, or I've seen you like do some electronic stuff and refurbish guitars. So you're also like hands-on doing things.
Yeah, so I actually have one right here, which wasn't planned, but yeah, I build, can you see that? I build little pedals. Okay. And I started doing that because I wanted a fuzz pedal and I didn't want to pay for it. Like I wanted a really cheap one, and I worked out that if I made it, it was about $20. And I thought if I don't really like the effect, it doesn't matter, it's $20. And then I found that it was really good for anxiety, so I just kept building them and then worked my way out to guitars and stuff.
And did you have like a background in doing like electronic stuff? I don't know.
Not a background, but I think when I was about 10, we have this guy here called Dick Smith. It's a very unfortunate name, but he had a line of electronic products and you could buy a kit and it came with this little board about this big and it was bright blue and you screwed all of the little components together and I think I made a Morse code. Yeah.
That's your root.
I probably made other stuff, but that's the one I remember.
That's for you. That's like, that's awesome. Cool. I mean, I just feel like to just be like, yeah, I want a fuzz pedal and I'm just going to make it. That's wild. I mean, but the cool thing is like, I mean, between YouTube and the internet, there's so many resources nowadays to try to figure out how to do stuff, which...
Yeah, exactly. I think I just downloaded the schematic, which is like a little drawing and tells you where everything goes. And then I watched the dude make it on YouTube and then I went and made it.
Where do you buy stuff? Like, where do you buy stuff?
There's actual sites that will sell it as a package. So you don't even have to like research very hard. You can just be like DIY guitar pedals and it will take you to a site and you buy the kit and then off you go.
I am learning. That's what I'm enjoying this because like a few days ago I talked to a sound engineer. I don't know anything about sound engineering. I've never owned a guitar pedal, although I have played guitar for a long time. I'm not an expert guitarist by any means, but I've never had a pedal. So this is like all new to me.
That used to be me. And then I was like, I'm going to buy a delay pedal. And then it sort of cascaded from there. So that's the gateway drug for guitar pedals is delay. And then you're like, what other delay pedals are there? What else can I do? And it sort of just goes a bit nuts. So
awesome. That is so cool. So like I want to know a little bit of how like you got to where you are now with like music, with audio, doing the composing. I know we talked about it like a little bit, but just like the story, like were you involved? Did you start playing guitar at a young age? Like when did you start music? That whole like story.
Well, when I was really little in grade 1, 2 and 3, Mum would play these rad 80s tunes because I'm born in 1980, so I'm quite old. So she would bang out all like the quintessential top 40 80s hits in the car and I was like, oh, I want to play guitar. So we had like toy guitars, stuff like that. And then when I got to about 13, I was like, no, I actually want to play guitar. And we did it at school because I went to a private school. Okay. So we did it as a music component. I was like, I want to keep playing guitar. And then I had lessons, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. And then Garbage released version 2.0. And I was like, I want to make music that sounds like that. And that kind of was like when I went, I'm going to be a producer.
That's awesome. That is...
Yeah. So, did you ever do the thing as a kid where you had like a tape player and it had the record and you could also put a mic in and record and like take the tape out and swap it around and then record more?
No, but I'm actually older than you, so maybe I missed that by a few years. So
I had, when I was at school, this tape player, and for anyone that doesn't know about tape players, you have the play side and the record side, and if you have a mic input, you can connect something up, and as you're playing what's on the tape, you can also record. So you can like actually then take what you've recorded and swap it into the play side and put another recordable tape in, and you can kind of like multi-track like that. And that's how I started production.
I had a Tascam Porta Studio, which...
I've got one downstairs.
Okay. That was my first thing. Like I had started playing guitar at 13 and I really just, and years later I wanted to record and I'm like, I researched it and my parents were nice enough to buy that for me. And I don't still have it. I actually sold it probably on eBay at some point in time and probably got about the same amount that they paid for it back because like I think they're in demand. But anyway, yeah, so I can feel you. And I mean, that was just like a 4-track and it was just like so wild to be able to record the guitar and then record the vocals. It was like a novelty.
Yeah. And then you're like, I am a music producer / rock god.
I was into, my thing was into like acoustic stuff, like folk stuff. Yeah, my Indigo Girls were like my first route as playing music, like realizing like, oh man, like I can like play music and write songs. And I asked my parents to like get me guitar lessons. So that was my route. So it wasn't garbage, but it was, you know, so it wasn't rock, it was folk.
Do you still have your first song anywhere that you recorded?
You know, it's funny, I was just thinking about that the other day. I have a lot of my stuff on tape still, and I was thinking, man, I have to digitize that so that I don't lose it, because at this point it's been sitting around for 20 plus years. So it's now or probably not going to happen. So yeah, I need to do that. I want to do it, but you have like some of your first stuff. Do you have it saved?
Yeah, I've got it downstairs in my studio, and like literally the other day as well. I was thinking the same thing. Why don't I put this on the computer, or why don't I just listen to it and see how bad it was, and then like can be like, oh look how much I've grown in that 20-year time span.
I have this feeling in my head, I think I'm gonna listen to it and be like, wow, I was pretty good. But maybe
I kind of want to think that I'm gonna do that, but I know that it's just gonna be like this mum rubbish.
Challenge for both of us. We have to do it in the next 2 months. And
post Instagram challenge.
YouTube channels to say this was my first song. So that's entertaining. Okay, that's cool though. That makes sense. And I mean, so basically, since like, so you've just been doing music ever since. You found ways to.
I quit a lot of times as well. I've been like, I hate music now. I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah.
So, and then come back to it, because music is life. So like, I think I probably quit it about 4 times, and then every single time I've quit, I've been like, there's something missing from my life. Wonder what that is. And I'm like, pick up the guitar and like, music. So then I kind of come back to it.
I feel you there. I totally can relate to that so much. It is. Music is life. It's like, I do it. Just same thing. Like, just keeps coming back into my life in one way or other. And it's always been like different, maybe incarnations, but you know, it's like something in the universe sort of like pushing me. Like as I start to get away from it, it's like something in the universe is like, no, you have to go back.
Drag you back by the scruff of your neck. Get back here.
Like for some reason, it's like it was meant for me. So yeah, so that's sort of why I'm following this journey now. But I have these questions because I want to make sure I get through some of these questions, and we're
asking more stuff
organically as we talk. But yeah, so I guess like, so being in music, like, and you're used to this because you're a bit older as well. Like it's gotten better in recent years in terms of men being more accepting to women who play guitar or, you know, are playing an instrument. But I mean, obviously still, I would say that we're a minority. I mean, any tips like through the years, like you can think of that, you know, it may help like younger girls who are maybe starting to pursue this and feeling like, oh, you know, like all those boys play guitar and they think I stink. And, you know, I don't know, just like, I don't know, a little.
Just get better than them. Just get better than them. And then like, that's all you can really do. Ignore them firstly and foremost, but just get better than them, because if you're better than them, and it doesn't matter if you're only a little bit better, if you're better than them, they're going to be like, oh, okay. Because when I learned guitar, I don't know how it was for you, but I got bullied by the boys for learning guitar, and they used to try and steal my guitar, and they used to like snap the strings. I had to get a lock box, like a locking case for it, and it was horrendous. But I was just like, no, I want to learn guitar, so I'm going to keep learning it. And you can just shut up. So I don't know. That's all you can do, is just keep going. If you want to do it, keep doing it. And if someone says you crap, just get better.
Yeah. That's really
no point getting angry.
That's really good advice. I mean, it's just like, you know, persistence, perseverance, like, and just wanting to be better than them. And it's so ironic because I think that is what really pushes a lot of women in the industry. You know, I mean,
just to literally go, I'm better than you, mate.
Yeah. It's
a good motivator.
And so like, have you ever played in a band, or have you been like
many years ago now? Okay. So like 2000 or 99, 2000, I was in a band playing my songs, and then I was in a metal band in like 2005. We weren't very good. We didn't get anywhere, but it was still fun to go to rehearsals and, you know, a bit of a scream.
And do you like play out now? Is that something that like you're into? No.
I hate performing. I hate it so much. So like, if I'm going to perform, I'd have to be incredibly drunk because I just get too anxious. And then if you're incredibly drunk, you don't have the fine motor skills to play. So
yeah, I feel
studio.
That is definitely like a skill in itself. Like my biggest issue used to be like I did so I'd play my own songs and other people's songs in like coffee houses. I do like the whole acoustic guitar thing, the singing thing, and I can't remember lyrics for the life of me. I just can't remember them. I'm one of those people. Just unless I'm singing.
I'm good at humming and making them up. Like if there's a lyric I don't know, I just sing something else.
I used to have a music stand in front of me, literally, with everything I was doing so that I could like be looking at the words. And of course that was the days before the iPad, which now I know like musicians have the iPad in front of them, as you know, so
yeah. And it just turns the page automatically for them.
Yeah, crazy. But back then I felt like the only one. I'm like, I don't even know the words to my own songs. But so that was a fail. But it was fun.
Got the memory capacity for all those words, really.
Yeah. What DAW do you use? Let's talk some tech stuff. Like
I love tech stuff. So I'm using Logic at the moment, and that's really more a cost thing and an ease of use thing than anything else. So I upgraded to Mac. So like they're like $1 billion. They may as well be $1 billion with what I am. And then I was like, well, I'll just get Logic because it's really cheap. And I think I only paid 200 Australian dollars at the time I got it. That's a one-off, 200 Australian dollars, or else I could have paid like $2,000 for Pro Tools. So I got Logic and stepped away from Pro Tools. And I probably would not go back to Pro Tools now unless I was employed in a big studio using Pro Tools, because for home use, Logic is fine and it has everything. And it's actually, I love that it's called Logic because it's logical the way that you use it. Whereas Pro Tools, you've got to do all this routing and it's like, what am I doing? And it's really based on analog. So Logic all the way. And then sometimes I use Reason to rewire into Logic and use some of the synths.
Oh, that's cool.
Never been able to use Ableton. I don't get it. I've like opened it 3 times and like, nah, I'll close that.
And so before you went into Logic, did you use something else? Was it? I
used Pro Tools and also Cakewalk when it was around.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I've never used Pro Tools, so I don't know anything about Pro Tools, but I know that like Logic, I actually own Logic too, and I think it was because it was like the cost when it became Logic 10 in its most recent incarnation, it was really, it's a great price.
It's so good. I can't believe it's that price. Like,
and that's such a popular DAW too. Like there's so many people using Logic. I mean, it's so... Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know if many people remember, but like maybe in about between 2000 and 2005, Logic was just like nobody used it. And then Apple bought it and turned it into what it is now. And Logic was so difficult to use back in the day.
Yeah, so I owned a box version of Logic. I did this on another video. I went back and I looked because I couldn't remember, and I forget what year that was now. And I showed a picture of like the box I owned, and I just couldn't dig into it. I really could. It was too much. And this was for everyone else here. This was long before there was a YouTube video to go and look at to figure out how to use.
Probably before YouTube even existed. Like YouTube existed, but you had VGA videos of cats.
You had like a big thick manual and basically to figure out how to use something, it was like there was no choice but to read through that manual, which weren't even as good as, even manuals that, PDFs that software has nowadays. Like it was tough, but yeah. So I think I sold that.
I reckon the Cakewalk one was pretty good because that was the same. So I had Cakewalk Pro Audio 8, about 1998 or 9 or something like that. And I think that one was really good. I still have it. Like the disc doesn't work, so I chucked it out. But I kept the book because it had some really in-depth technical stuff about EQing and compressing. Yeah, and I just kept it as a reference. And I'm like, oh, how do I EQ a saxophone? Oh, let me consult Pro Audio 8. So like for that. It was really good.
Do you play other instruments too? Like, will you?
I play bass and I play drums, but I haven't played drums for a while. I'm pretty bad at keyboards, but I can kind of like muddle around those. Okay. And then fun stuff like ukulele and percussion, I'll pick it up and riff off those and put them back again. But yeah, guitar's pretty much my main one. And then I taught myself keyboards so that I could get the notes into the DAW to compose, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing that's crazy is this like the technology in the past few years, and for people like me, like I don't know music theory. It's really like this past year just diving into it, I'm amazed at what I can do. Like I'm actually having fun. Like all the other times I've tried to like start doing stuff like this, like I've had Omnisphere since like 2009. I've had Ableton for a really long. I've had stuff for so long, but I've never gotten over the hump of like just banging your head against the wall. So to me, it's just amazing what you can do, because I'm just having fun, and that's what I feel like that's what it's supposed to be about. It's having fun.
That's why I kind of delved into the pedals so hard, and I wasn't expecting to be like this full pedal nerd within a year of buying a delay pedal. I was just like, what's something different? I'm bored. And then it's kind of escalated pretty quickly. But I've also found that my playing on guitar is better because I'm like really having to think about what I'm composing rather than just doing like a distorted lead or a clean lead and then tweaking it in Logic. I actually am composing differently from using a different tool. And to me, that's educational and fun. It kind of ticks all the boxes that I like. But yeah, like I love learning new stuff. But when it comes to things like Omnisphere, I don't even get it. I'm just like that.
Doing a lot of like your own playing guitar. I mean, I've heard your stuff. I mean, it's emphasis is you playing guitar, and that is the focus point of your music is you in your guitar. So with that being said, like, do you have like a favorite VST you're using, or is there any plugins that you like to use, or are you mostly using the analog, like the pedals, or
At the moment, I'm mostly using the pedals, but I do really like Waves stuff, just in general, just to gloss everything. As for VSTs, I don't really own any, but I really like the studio strings that Logic put in the last couple of updates ago now. Like they're really good, and you can control them. Don't know if you've used it, but you can control it with your keyboard. So you can like do volume fades and stuff like that, and they sound pretty real for a VST.
So you're really utilizing like everything that comes in Logic. You are really utilizing those plugins.
Yeah, I am a big fan of their internal effects. Like, everyone's like, oh no, you got to get this and you got to get that. But I've got maybe 3 or 4 compressors that I've paid for, plugins, but I just come back to Logic's internal one because for me, it's got all the things that I want to use. And it's also got extra things that these other ones don't have. So,
yeah, and I think that's like it's sort of like the Daguerre acquisition syndrome. It's it's like, okay, I've got Logic, and it was $200, and it's like, but now if I spent this, and this for those other things, they must be better. That would make my setup better than what I have now. I mean, which isn't, obviously can be completely unnecessary, especially like some of these people that make some of these VSTs. Like, it's a money-making, venture for them. So,
yeah, I wish I was smart enough to program a VST. I'd be a billionaire.
God, yeah, I want to do the same. Yeah. So right now, what is your favorite piece of gear? Do you have like a favorite? Actually, I'll give you 2. What's your favorite guitar that you've been playing a lot? Because I know you have a few, right? And your favorite pedal.
Ooh, all the hard questions at once. I don't really have a favorite. I just have like a favorite of the moment, but I can show you my favorite of the moment because it's just like literally right here. So I built that.
Oh yeah,
so that's nice. Build. It's just we'll post an Instagram of it now that it's finished. But that's just a Strat that I built, and it's got some Invader pickups, which is like a really punky kind of abrasive sounding pickup. So I like that. That's quite nice. Favorite pedal? I don't know. I don't really have one because they're all like probably it's going to be really boring. Probably my Diamond Comp Junior because it's always on. It's just a compressor. It just smooths everything out as it goes in.
Okay.
So that's the only one that stays in the chain.
Very cool. And so that guitar, so you made, because I saw some pictures on your Instagram, which and I'm gonna put all your links to your YouTube and your Instagram. I'll put all that in the description below so that people can find you. But I had seen some pictures on your Instagram of that. So you made that whole guitar, like you put all the pieces together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you buy it in kit. Like, I don't want to saw it or anything, but you just buy a kit and then you're like, oh, what color do I want to do it? And that one I did, it's called Japanese black. It's like a really hectic wood stain. And you're supposed to like sponge it off so it's like translucent, but I just left it. And then, you just put the electrics in and the strings on and that's it. Like, they're pretty easy to build. Like, it sounds like it's really going to be difficult, but they're actually easy because they do come with instructions and everything's done for you. You just pretty much screw it all together.
But you have the initiative to like get this done, because I love how you say, oh, it's easy. It's just a do this, you do that. Like, okay, for your average person, like they're not
average person, it's probably a challenge.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty like props to you for buying it and doing, because you even did the finish. I mean, that's like that's I've felt when that gets done. I used to work in a guitar shop for like 2 years. That is hard work. There's a lot of love.
That's not like all the poison poly and stuff like that. It's just literally, I went to a big hardware store in Australia called Bunnings and I was like, oh, that looks cool, and I bought that. That was how I picked it.
All right. Well, it seems amazing to me. That's pretty wild. Yeah. What piece of gear is on your wish list? Like, if money was no object, like, or right now, like, what are you aiming towards?
Just all the weird pedals. There's probably a really long wish list. I don't know how to say her name. I'm just going to quickly look at my Instagram and be a little bit rude because I want to look at this woman's name.
Yeah, no, look it up, because you're sharing information with people who
Anne Stulakowski. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong, Anne. She has all these really cool little bloopy weird pedals that make all these really cool like bips and bloops, and I don't know what she's got and I don't know what she's doing with them.
You're saying, or
she just either buys them or wins them or gets given them by the pedal companies to demo, I think.
And what's
by her?
Say the name.
Anne Stulakowski.
Again.
I'm probably saying it wrong because I'm Australian and we don't pronounce anything correctly. Her first name is Anne. That's easy. And then Anne. Stulakowski is her last name.
Okay. All right.
Probably not.
All right. I wouldn't know that you pronounced anything wrong, because there's something about an Australian accent that just makes everything sound so much better in my mind.
Better or worse?
It's better than sounding like you're from New Jersey. That's me.
Where you're from? I like the American accent. It sounds fancy. But then, like, all foreign accents, I guess. Everyone's like, oh, what's that?
Different. You're like, yeah, it's nice to hear something different.
Yeah.
So how about like now, like what are some of your favorite musicians that like you're listening to, like something that is on your like Spotify, or what have you been digging? Either a certain band?
I don't actually have Spotify.
That's okay.
But
however music.
I feel really embarrassed to say this, but I recently discovered St. Vincent because in my part-time retail job, they started playing her on the stereo. And I was like, oh, who's this?
Who is it?
Yes, St. Vincent. So she's like, I don't know if I can define her style.
Okay, because I don't know who that
apparently she's really popular and she's won like heaps of Grammys and awards, and I feel really embarrassed that I didn't know about her because she's quite popular.
Say the first name again.
St. Vincent.
Saint Vincent?
Yeah.
Vincent.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just not in the know, which is...
No. Well, I wasn't, and it's only because she played in the store that I looked her up. But it took me like 8 months to look it up, like actually go out the back and see who was playing.
That's
cool.
I
was like, oh. And then when I looked her up, I was like, oh, she has that cool guitar that I liked. So I knew of her guitar, but I didn't know of her.
Okay.
And then I'm not very on the pulse with music.
Yeah.
So I just listen to everything. And at the moment, I'm listening to an English electronica duo called Lamb.
Oh, okay.
Lamb.
What so my other question then coming off of this is like, yeah, what's it like being in Australia? Because you're probably exposed to different music. I mean, there are probably a lot of musicians and groups that are from Australia. And then it's just sort of who else you get from around the world. So it's probably a totally different experience.
We are very, very protective of our music industry. We have a national radio broadcaster called Triple J, and they play, I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm going to say it's probably around 40% of Australian music.
Okay.
At a wild guess. So, like, we're really protective of that industry. And I have to admit, most of my music that I listen to is probably Australian.
Okay. And they're like, so school me again. So like, help me with like, okay, like who's the biggest act from Australia or at least near you that we should know in America?
Oh,
and like Keith,
I think someone coming over, like Tame Impala, I think has cracked the market.
Okay.
So big ones like that. And I think Silverchair managed to crack the market a little bit in their early days. Yeah. They're two I really like.
Didn't know they were from. Is Keith Urban from Australia? Am I right about that? Okay, so yeah. All right.
But I think ones to look, I'm going to go the women, obviously, because that's what your podcast is about. Yeah. So I think some really good women acts in Australia is Megan Washington. I think she's got a new record coming out soon. I'm not 100% sure.
Cool.
I really like Bertie Blackman's music.
Okay.
She's just another singer-songwriter. Who else do I like? There's a lot of older bands. Oh, Magic Dirt. This it's really hard to say.
Awesome. Yeah. Because like now you're just exposing people to like these other artists like we have no clue about. So that's so cool.
Yeah. So I think Magic Dirt have reformed, or they're doing something. Okay. They were a really cool grungy rock band, female-fronted rock band from, I guess, 2000 era. So they were a fave. They were actually, I started building an SG guitar, which is like the real.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I started building that because the woman in that band plays an SG, which I don't normally do stuff because somebody else has done it, but that was like, I think she looks really cool with that guitar, so I'll build one.
Oh, that's so cool. Now, when you build, do you keep everything that you build, or do you ever like sell it to?
I don't think they're probably good enough quality to sell, so it's more just like a hobby. But I did give one to my brother because he was like, oh, I need a clean sounding guitar, I need a Strat, I need blah, blah, blah. I was like, shut up.
Okay. And it's like, so like the music scene in Australia, so I mean, is it pretty happening? Has it changed a lot in the past 10 years? I mean, I feel like in America, I mean, music always changes, okay, but like we've had these highs and we've had these lows, and you know, like just, and everyone has their own opinion. But I think when you take a step back, there's always a good few years and then maybe a not so good few years. Is it like the same in Australia?
I think we have so many musicians. Like, I think we have a ridiculous amount of musicians considering our population. So I think that ratio is a bit skewed here. So there's always going to be good music. I'm probably being really diplomatic, but there's always good music. There's always stuff that I like anyway. But I think the major change in Australia is that we've lost a lot of live venues. So the major thing for us is that it has to be radio exposure. And I mean, there's ways of doing that, and there's quite effective ways of doing that if you're a musician in Australia. But to lose those live venues, you're losing basically your livelihood as well, because if there's no live venues, you're not getting that money from gigs, which is your main revenue. So I think in terms of what musicians are earning, that has changed for the worse. But I think in general, our music industry is quite healthy. It's probably the best it's ever been, actually.
What and what is the reason of losing those live venues? Is it like because I know the cost of real estate is insane?
No, it's actually government regulation.
Oh,
so governments have regulated different closing hours, like restricted closing hours, to stop alcohol-fueled violence, that kind of thing. So instead of addressing the problem, they're addressing the places that the problem occurs.
What time do the clubs like in Brisbane? I'm going to say, is it Brisbane or Brisbane? How do you say it?
Brisbane, but I'm on the Gold Coast, which is an hour south.
You're an hour south of there. So what time do your like clubs close? I
haven't been for a while, but I think they're about 3 a.m. instead of like 5 a.m. But there's a lockout period. So if you're not in that club by whatever the lockout time is, you can't get in. And I think anywhere that has live music, it's all like finishes by midnight, which is like, that's early. You're going to go out. You go out. Like, I'm old, but if I'm going to go out, I don't want it to finish at midnight. Like, not Cinderella.
I think back to the days when I used to be out until 5 a.m. and I'm just like, how the heck did I even do that? I don't know.
And then you back it up with going to work at 8 a.m.
I really don't know, man. I don't know. I can't even think. Oh boy. This has been so fun talking to you. I'm
loving it.
I could keep going on and on, but the problem is I only have so much like memory on my computer. By the time I record the video onto my computer, it's like, oh, so we'll have to come back and we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, we can do it too for sure.
Yeah, we'll come back to this because it's just been fun talking to you. So like my last question, I think this is interesting. We might have touched on it a little bit. But what motivates you to keep going in music, right? We said we like got bounced back to it, but I mean, you know, when you're sort of just like feeling like you're not feeling it, but maybe you have to, you know, you want to, basically what motivates you to keep going? That's what I'm trying to ask and articulate.
I don't really know. And to be honest, I never thought that I would be doing ambient guitar. Like I post on Instagram and I've done a new ambient guitar piece. Like I never thought I'd do that. I think that like it's not really motivator, but I think it's more along the lines of what else can I learn, because I'm a learner. Like I have to learn something new pretty much every day. So I think it's more that than the actual, because I've quit so many times and I've only come back to it mostly when I'm not in a good place. I just pick up the guitar and have a play and then like, oh, actually I do like doing this. So, but I think the thing that keeps me going is innovation, if we want to sum it up. Yeah.
Do you guys in Australia, are you heavily using like streaming music platforms? Like I know you said you don't have Spotify, but like, there's other choices. So that's the main way people listen to music?
That's how people are getting their content, I think, worldwide at the moment is streaming.
Do you think that you will, if you haven't already, because maybe I don't know, do you think you'll put out an album?
Yeah, I've got some stuff on Bandcamp.
Okay.
But yeah, I think going through Spotify, you have to get somebody to put it on Spotify for you. So I'll have to go through somewhere, for example,
it may be different. Like it may be different in Australia because I don't know if this varies from country to country, but there's a service called DistroKid, which is one service.
Oh, yes. I've heard of that one. Yeah, my brother recommended that.
Yeah. So it's only like 30, I want to say it's like 30 or $40 per year. And you basically create your own label under which you can release your own music onto Spotify. So
cool.
But
sounds like a goer.
Yeah. Like I was just
pretty good. I'll translate that. Sounds like a goer is like good plan. I'll do that.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a go. Sounds like a go. You said?
Yeah. Sounds like a goer.
Okay. Give us so let's end with like a really what is a good thing to say in Australia now? Like what's everybody saying? Like in terms
a quintessential Australianism is she'll be right. Like it won't be right, but we're gonna say that she'll be right anyway. And she'll is like anything. Guitar's broken, she'll be right. Your car's broken, yeah, she'll be right. Like you lose shifts at work, she'll be right.
Like so that's like it'll be okay.
It'll be okay. It's all screwed right now, but it'll be okay, maybe eventually.
Absolutely love it. Oh my God, it's been so much fun talking to you. So that's it. Like, let's close it here. But yeah, I'll totally put all your links below, and this has been fun. And this has just been a great experience. Like I said, you're the second one I've talked to so far, like talking to women in music. And I just feel like it's so cool, like talking to people in other countries and just doing different things. It's just like so cool. So thank you.
Thank you for having me
So much. Yeah, thank you.